Episode 3. B2 level. Hello and welcome to another episode of Daily 5 Words. In today's episode, we're going to explore this 5 useful English words. 1. Hesitate. 2. Consequence. 3. Evaluate. 4. Sustain. 5. Predict. First, you're going to watch a short animation where all these words are used in context. As you watch, try to spot today's vocabulary. And pay close attention to how each word is used. Right after the animation, we'll go through each word in detail. With meanings, examples, and how to use them in real life. Now, let's begin. Watch the animation carefully.
Sarah sat at her desk, staring at a blank sheet of paper. Her hands were still. Her heart wasn't. She had argued with her best friend Layla the day before. Harsh words were exchanged. She regretted it immediately. Now, she hesitated. Should she say sorry? Would Layla even listen? She picked up her pen, then put it down again. She whispered to herself, if I write this, there could be a consequence. What if she doesn't forgive me? Sarah looked out the window. The moon was setting slowly, just like their friendship, fading by the minute. She knew what she had to do. She breathed deeply and began to write. I'm sorry, she started. I wasn't fair to you. I let my anger speak louder than my heart. She paused to evaluate her own behavior. I didn't listen. I didn't understand. And I want to do better. Then she wrote, I promise to sustain our friendship with more care, more honesty, and more kindness. She folded the letter carefully and slipped it into Layla's locker the next morning. Hours passed. No word, no message. Sarah sat quietly at lunch, alone. Then, a gentle tap on her shoulder. It was Layla. She held the letter in her hand, eyes soft. I didn't expect this, she said. I couldn't predict what you'd say. But I'm glad you said it. She sat down beside Sarah. Let's talk. A smile formed on both their faces. Because sometimes, all it takes is one brave word to begin again.
Now let's take a closer look at today's vocabulary. 1. Hesitate. Part of speech, verb. Meaning. To hesitate means to pause before doing or saying something. Usually because you're unsure, nervous, or worried. It shows a lack of certainty or confidence. It often expresses doubt, fear, or politeness before taking an action or making a decision. Examples. She hesitated before answering the difficult question. Don't hesitate to call me if you need help. He hesitated at the door, unsure whether to enter. They hesitated to invest in the new project. Synonyms. Pause. Waver. Falter. Delay. Be uncertain. Word family. Hesitation, noun. The act of hesitating. There was a moment of hesitation before she spoke. Hesitant, adjective. Unsure or slow to act. He gave a hesitant smile. Hesitantly, adverb. In a hesitant way. She hesitantly agreed to the plan. Common uses and phrases. Hesitate to do something. Many students hesitate to ask questions in class. Without hesitation. Very confidently or quickly. She accepted the job offer without hesitation. Don't hesitate to. A polite phrase often used in writing or speech. Don't hesitate to contact us if you have questions. Idioms or expressions. Without a moment's hesitation. Immediately or confidently. He jumped in to help without a moment's hesitation. Tips for learners. Use hesitate when you want to show polite refusal, uncertainty, or a short pause before acting. In formal writing or customer service. Don't hesitate to is a common polite expression. Used to offer help or encourage action. 2. Consequence. Part of speech, noun. Meaning. A consequence is the result or effect of an action, event, or decision. It can be positive or negative. but it's often used when talking about negative results or things that happen as a reaction to something. It shows cause and effect, something happened, and because of that, another thing occurred. Examples: he broke the rules, and now he has to face the consequences. One consequence of climate change is rising sea levels. She didn't study, so the consequence was a poor exam grade. Economic problems are a direct consequence of poor planning. Synonyms: result, outcome, effect, repercussion, aftermath, ramification, more formal. Word family: consequential, adjective, resulting from something. The accident had serious consequential effects. Consequently, adverb. As a result, she forgot to set her alarm. Consequently, she was late for work. Inconsequential, adjective. Not important, not a big result. Their argument was over something inconsequential. Common uses and phrases: face the consequences. Accept the result of your actions. He knew he had made a mistake and was ready to face the consequences. As a consequence of. Used in formal writing. As a consequence of the new law, many businesses had to close. Suffer the consequences. Experience negative results. If you lie, you may suffer the consequences later. Serious consequences. Strong or important effects. Cheating on an exam can have serious consequences. Idioms, expressions, or proverbs. Actions have consequences. Often said as a warning. You should think twice before doing that. Actions have consequences. Take the consequences. Accept responsibility. He refused to apologize and decided to take the consequences. Tips for learners. Great for both spoken and written English, especially in formal contexts. Use consequently when you're writing an essay or a formal letter to show clear cause and effect. Remember that consequence doesn't always mean something bad, but it often suggests a negative result, especially in warnings or advice. 3. Evaluate. Part of speech, verb. Meaning: to evaluate means to carefully assess, examine, or judge something in order to understand its value, importance, or quality. It is often used in academic, professional, or formal settings, especially when discussing performance, ideas, situations, or data. This verb involves thoughtful analysis rather than just quick judgment. Examples: the manager will evaluate each employee's performance at the end of the month. Before buying the house, she hired someone to evaluate its condition. The essay asks students to evaluate the impact of globalization on local cultures. Doctors must evaluate a patient's condition before recommending treatment. Synonyms: assess, judge, analyze, review, examine, appraise, estimate. Word family. Evaluation, noun. The act of judging or assessing. After a full evaluation, the school decided to change its policies. Evaluator, noun. Someone who evaluates. A trained evaluator assessed the students' presentations. Reevaluate, verb. To evaluate again. We need to reevaluate our strategy after the feedback. Common uses and phrases. Evaluate performance. Often used in workplaces or education. Supervisors evaluate performance yearly. Evaluate results or data. In academic, medical, or business contexts. Researchers evaluated the results of the study. Evaluate the effectiveness. To judge how well something works. We must evaluate the effectiveness of this new policy. Critically evaluate. Common in academic writing. Critically evaluate the author's main argument. Tips for learners. Use evaluate in essays and presentations. Instead of simpler verbs like look at or check, evaluate focuses on deep thinking and often requires evidence or criteria to support a judgment. 4. Sustain. Part of speech, verb. Meaning. To sustain means to keep something going or continue it over time, especially during difficult conditions. It often refers to maintaining effort, support, or life itself. In more advanced or academic contexts, it can also mean to suffer something, like an injury, or to support something physically or emotionally. Examples. The athlete was able to sustain a high level of performance throughout the season. The company couldn't sustain its profits during the economic crisis. He sustained serious injuries in the accident. Her encouragement helped me sustain my motivation. They aim to sustain natural resources for future generations. Synonyms. Maintain. Continue. Uphold. Endure. Support. Prolong. Withstand. Word family. Sustainable, adjective. Able to continue without causing harm. We need sustainable energy solutions. Sustainability, noun. The ability to be sustained, especially in environment or economy. The sustainability of the project is in question. Sustained, adjective or verb form. Continuing for a long time. The country experienced sustained economic growth. Common uses and phrases. Sustain attention. Keep focusing. It's hard to sustain attention during long lectures. Sustain life. Keep someone alive. The medical team worked hard to sustain the patient's life. Sustain damage or injuries. Formal use in news or medical reports. The vehicle sustained severe damage. Sustain growth. Maintain development. Investments are needed to sustain growth in the region. Sustain a conversation. Keep it going. He found it difficult to sustain a conversation with strangers. Tips for learners. Use sustain instead of keep or continue in formal speaking or writing to sound more advanced. It is commonly used in academic essays, news reports, and scientific discussions. 5. Predict. Part of speech, verb. Meaning. To predict means to say what will happen in the future, often based on knowledge, evidence, or patterns. It can refer to anything from scientific forecasts to personal guesses. It's used not only for simple future guesses but also in academic, scientific, and technical contexts. Examples. Scientists can predict earthquakes using advanced technology. No one can predict how the market will change next year. She correctly predicted the outcome of the election. The weather report predicts heavy rain for tomorrow. I can't predict how he will react to the news. Synonyms. Forecast. Anticipate. Project. Foresee. Estimate. Prophesy, more formal or religious. Expect, sometimes. Word family. Prediction, noun. A statement about what will happen. His prediction was surprisingly accurate. Predictable, adjective. Easy to guess or foresee. The movie's ending was too predictable. Unpredictable, adjective. Hard to guess. The weather is completely unpredictable this time of year. Predictability, noun. The quality of being predictable. High predictability makes it boring. Common uses and phrases. Predict the future. Guess what will happen. Nobody can predict the future perfectly. Predict behavior, results, or outcomes. Used in science and psychology. Psychologists try to predict human behavior. Predict success or failure. Often used in business. Past performance doesn't always predict future success. Accurately predict. Often appears with adverbs. The model can accurately predict temperatures. Tips for learners. Use predict in more formal or academic settings instead of guess. It's a good word for science, economics, and news reports. Use predictable carefully. Calling a person predictable might be negative, boring, or not exciting. Thanks so much for watching. I truly appreciate your time and commitment to learning. You can find the links to download both the PDF and the audio file of this episode in the description. Try listening to the audio during your daily routine, whether you're commuting, walking, or just relaxing. It's a great way to review the new vocabulary and continue improving your English skills.